Hey, this is Cristo Fernandez, and first of all, I just wanted to thank you all for watching Ted Lasso, for all the support, all the fans out there. It means a lot to us seeing all the reactions and all the feedback from the show, and it means so much to us realizing how special it has been for all the people that have watched it. So, and of course, this is the LassoCon this weekend, and I just wanted to send you guys the best vibes. And I hope you enjoy it and have a great time. All right. All the best, amigos. Thank you very much.
Well, let's talk about portrayals of women in Ted Lasso. Please welcome to the stage our awesome Ted Lasso team. We're going to have Corrin and Andrea talking about the Women of Ted Lasso.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Women of Ted Lasso. So we're really excited to talk to you about this topic today. My name is Andrea in Chicago, and Corrine. Do you want to introduce yourself? Or
Yeah, that's great.
Corrine's going to start us off talking about some of the research she did on the crew, the importance of language, why representation matters, and women in Hollywood. And I'm going to thread in some notes throughout about the characters, their relationships, and growth. So take it away, Corrine.
Thanks so much, Drea. Hi, everybody. I'm Corrine. I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan, as you can see by all my swag. Actually, a lot of this swag comes courtesy of this phenomenal group from LassoCon2 and meeting some of the different individuals. And if there's anything that Ted Lasso really, truly talks about is community, and this community is mind-blowing. Everybody has come together to be so supportive and vulnerable and accountable and lovely. And shout out to our founders, Thea, Chris, and Tim. Thank you so much for giving us this platform. So let's get started. A lot of Ted Lasso, there's a lot of comparison and to Schitt's Creek and other, heartwarming, beautiful shows, and it's simultaneously being nuanced and complex, and it is written as a comedy, but it's gone through so much depth, and there's layered jokes, multiple callbacks, and tons of cultural references. I mean, I know that in some of our chats with this our Clubhouse group, that we miss so many of those different little callbacks or the different cultural references, but we know that they're there, and that's why we all come together, we talk about it. One of the groups of writers, and what's truly fascinating about this show is the number of women writers that participate. Just a quick little roll call. We have Phoebe Walsh, who she also plays Jane Payne. She also is credited as the executive story editor, and she has edited on 22 of the 23 episodes. The only other one that has as many is Brett Goldstein, which he did 12. But it's kind of phenomenal that she has so many to her credit. She also is doing a double duty by being on the show as Beard's girlfriend. Along with her, we have James Becker, Leanne Bowen, Jamie Lee, Sasha Guerin, and Ashley Nicole Black, who was also part of Black Lady Sketch Show. So she got to do a couple double duties while at the Emmys. And while they didn't win, it was pretty awesome to see her there. One of the things I wanted to share in the chat is she was actually the first one to bring up the 24-hour improv, which is the donation program that the Christmas episode is based off of. So the letters to Santa, and that's a great fundraising organization, and that's actually the real organization that Carol of the Bells episode where Ted and Rebecca are going to give different presents to children. That's where that stemmed from. So it was something kind of local here to LA, and they brought it into the show, and now it's going to get a lot more traction because of the show. The writing is so nuanced in that it truly has this impact to make you think. And some of the things that we've seen in various interviews is Hannah Waddingham actually stated that it's because of the staunch male feminists in this room. And, they have a lot of women writers, and they have these men who want to represent in a positive light. one of the things that I found out was a fun fact is Brett Goldstein, he went to university in film and feminism. Like he was being inclusive before it was cool to be inclusive. Like, hell yeah. Thank you, Brett.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Drea.
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah, no, go ahead, finish.
Oh, yeah. So doing some research about the show and how like female writers and how it comes into play in Hollywood, there's this phenomenal documentary called This Changes Everything. And it talks about the lack of representation in front and behind the camera. One weird, sad kind of factoid is 70% of the global entertainment content comes out of the US. And when you don't have that represented by, what the population is, 50% women, all people of different backgrounds and colors and things, it shows. And to know that our country, or I'm sorry, the US is responsible for this, it's like, oh, we have some changes. And what's great about Ted Lasso is it really brings forward a lot of different messaging. One of the things that this documentary talks about is the Bechdel test. And it's very rudimentary. It's 3 things that in order to pass the Bechdel test is there must be 2 women in the scene. They must be having a conversation, and the topic must not be about another male character. So Ted Lasso passes this almost for every episode. Sorry, Beard After Dark just doesn't really make the cut.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, and I just want to throw in I saw something about a Ted Lasso test, which is to go along with that, right? Is you have 2 men on screen talking about their feelings. That's the Ted Lasso test, right? Like men can be vulnerable too, and we need to have that inclusivity.
Absolutely, Andrea. That's a fantastic point. I mean, that's the content I want to see is, the damning of the toxic masculinity. And that's truly where like a lot of, we've talked about previously about the, when Jamie's questioning the line of, man up versus like, or when Ted says woman up and, don't you mean man up? He's like, no, you've been doing this the whole time. Also to speak of Beard After Dark, one of the things, and this is very subtle, but when Beard is praying to God, whomever that may be in this instant, as Ted has actually referred to God as a woman. He calls her she a lot in a number of episodes, but he starts with, I want to talk to you about a girl. And then he pauses and he goes, a woman. And that's a real shift in conversation, is truly using the language as saying like, we don't need to be referred to as girls. Like we're women, we're on the platform of being right next to the men. We're not subservient, that's a huge thing. Another part of the representation piece is who they've used as extras or, smaller roles. They had a lot of different choices to make. And one of those being is like Shannon. She's the neighborhood soccer or football player. And, they could have cast a young teenage boy that would have been no problem. Same with May as the barkeep. Georgia, who is Aniola Luca. Luco. She's a former football player for the country of England. And she's now actually the sporting director for Angel City Football Club here in LA. So it's kind of phenomenal that they're taking people from that background of the football. And and in case you don't know, she was the woman that was on Isaac's team during the Macadoodle Doo and him learning to be a better captain. Awesome. So I think a lot of what we've talked about and what we've covered, it has a lot to do with just, it's important to see women in these roles. Another one that I apologize, I forgot to mention is just even having the ER doctor as a woman, they don't have to have those roles, which brings us into Dr. Sharon Fieldstone. There was some kind of chatter on different social media about how abrupt it was and how she, kind of came in like a storm. And she's like, well, first and foremost, Ted wanted to call her doc, and she needed to be represented as to what she was. She earned her doctorate. She is Dr. Fieldstone. And so to kind of shorten that and minimize that, that's her fighting that. She wants to be representative, as she says later in that scene, she's really fucking good at her job. And as we saw with season 2, she really is. And it's just really cool that, they were able to bring her in, and Sarah Niles was phenomenal. One of the other points that I kind of glossed over was with the casting. The woman who won the Emmy for outstanding casting in a comedy series is Theo Parks. Theo Park. Yeah. And she, one of the things I learned in a lot of this is like a lot of casting directors are women, and it's part of because they're able to empathize with the people who want to be on screen, but also though, understanding what the directors and producers are looking for, and even the writers. Some of the things I found in an interview with her is they actually wanted to have Danny Rojas be the Jamie Tart character because they were looking for specifically a Latino. And they realized like, well, no, this is the look. This is what we're going for. And when they hired for the Danny Rojas role, they actually rewrote it based off of the casting. And so she kind of talks about how like what they want to portray, but also what they want to give to each other. Excuse me. It's all really fascinating on how they keep those conversations going.
Yep. I went away for a second. No, that's awesome. So yeah, like a couple things, just going back a second about the women writers, like I actually did a quick look, and the average number of female writers on a show, actually Netflix has raised the bar. Netflix has 36.4 women writers, where the average is 30, where Ted Lasso season 1 was 40%, season 2, 60%. So
wow.
Like they have just surpassed all expectations, which is awesome. And just the representation, how important that is, how much it matters, like the own voices. You hear that a lot more recently about, if you want to talk about something happening to women, let the women talk about it. How Absolutely. Important is that? And
oh,
yeah,
sorry. I was just going to add, it's a lot of people like think that like, oh, we're putting the women on the stage so that, women could see women. It's like, no, it actually is, because we need the men to see us, but we need boys. We need small children. We need to see that representation throughout all the different facets of entertainment, that like, no, women being present is just as important as the men.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that reminds me, there was a story, I just learned it in the last couple of days, about the Colombian National Football League. They basically were one season away from just cutting the women's team out completely, because they just like 5 people would go to their games. And so the league took their logo, the Colombian National League logo, cut it in half, and put the right side in all the men's jerseys and the left side in all the women's jerseys. And their slogan was "One Team." We're one team. And by the end of that year that they did that slogan, the women's national team had the highest attendance of any game ever. Like, how cool is that? And that is literally about saying, oh, keep going away. I'm sorry if my connection is bad, everybody. But anyway, yeah, so I thought that was really cool. And then about some of the characters that you brought up, I just kind of wanted to say, like May, how much she cares about the team and the players is so fascinating to me. Like, she's kind of the heart. She's kind of their mom. And she, she counsels them. She gives them tough love. She's there to listen to them. She's the Ted Danson, right? That kind of Ted Danson, like bartender character where everyone comes and talks to her.
Well, yeah, and what we've talked about before is that was one of the best lines, was the fact that when Jamie named his little guy, his little soldier, Ted Danson, and Ted says, he's like the Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and it's like, more often than not, we say things like, oh, well, it's the woman Ghostbusters now, it's the woman this. It's like, well, no, the women have representation in hilarious comedy, and quite honestly, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, that would make a great cameo. She would be really good on there. Like, all of a sudden she swoops in and she starts partying with Sassy and Keeley. Like, yeah, I'm here for that.
Perfect segue to Sassy. Sassy's the ultimate friend. I mean, think about it. You have a friend, you haven't talked to her in years. She knows it's your anniversary and that it's going to be a tough day for you, and she shows up. Like, that's a friendship, right? Like, you know, I mean, so many women characters, we all know this. So many women characters are like butting their heads against each other. She supports and like accepts Keely immediately. Like, Sassy's just like the ultimate friend. You know, she's obviously Nora's mom, and Nora's an amazing kid. So it's, you know,
I want to adopt her.
yeah. And then Sharon, what I also love about her, but with all the characters, is that complexity that Sharon shows, of the fact that, you know, a few people have talked about it today, where she's so like, I mean, she isn't, you know, she says it herself. She's damn good at her job. She's doing a great job. But then she also, you see the complexity of like her own personal life is, you know, kind of messy, but she can still come in every day, do her job, do it well. I mean, how many women are doing that every day in their lives, right? Like single moms who are going in and they're doing their job damn well. And then they're coming home and they're dealing with chaos. How real that is. And I really love that. So let me see, who else haven't I talked about yet? Then obviously the Rebecca Keely relationship. Keely's growth, I think, is another one. The fact that she started out in the beginning kind of like this socialite icon, and then like by the end of season 2, she, you know, like saying no to Roy's offer to 3-week vacation. She's like, no, my career's about to take off. Like, I need to prioritize myself. Where season 1 Keely would have 100%, you know, gone with Roy. Like, okay, I'm going to take this 3-week vacation because that's what you want. But she's, you know, the new Keely, season 2 Keely, you know, it stands up for herself.
And she definitely does. Like, you see her time after time again of the men going to her and wanting to talk to her about things. And she's like, no, she deflects it. She holds those boundaries strong. And actually she did that quite a bit with Jamie in season 1, like, you know, why she wasn't getting into the car, because as Jamie didn't understand, it was Pavlovian, but like it was, she understands like her existence. And, you know, that was to see her whole Vanity Fair shoot on how people are actually going to see her for her, not just a pretty face. But, you know, Nate goes to her. She saddles up with Rebecca to get, you know, build Nate confidence, but then also the number of times that Jamie goes to her, like, she's like, nope, you go to Ted. Nope, you go to Roy. Like, nope. Like, it's more often than not, they have women who represent, you know, the savior or the mom, but not in the way that May is. You know, they're more of a rescuer, so to speak. Actually, to pop on a little bit of the therapy talk, that's one of the things I've talked to my therapist about, is like, I am not a rescuer, I'm a protector. So I want to be proactive and prevent it from happening. But that's also something that a lot of women, you know, they just take on that role because that's how it's deemed in society, you know, that's where we're supposed to fit in, and where we're actually learning that, like Ted said, woman up. It's much more effective to be vulnerable. It's much more effective to have that accountability. And I think the way the women are represented in the show, because to your point with Sassy, like, Sassy didn't let Rebecca get out of, you know, knowing how sad she was that she hadn't talked to her in 6 years, you know?
Right.
It's that whole thing. And then, you know, for season 2, when Rebecca's dad passes away, like, there's Sassy climbing up the trellis. Like,
right.
I made me really want to climb up a trellis. I just show up like, hey, I don't know you, but you have a trellis. Thanks.
I think we could probably talk about this forever, and our phone calls about this has been endless. We could do a podcast too, I guess, right? That's been the other theme of today.
I know.
But I think we're out of time. Thank you everyone for listening, and go LassoCon.
Yay.
Oh, I can't hear you, Chris. I don't know if you can.
Oh, Chris, we can't hear
you. Chris,
you.
You're on mute. 2021 problem. You're still on mute.
Chris?
All right, now we got it right. Oh my god. Okay, so I had to manually do this thing, and the point is, you guys are the ladies of LassoCon. Amazing job. Thank you so very much. And I think that everyone in the chat room will tell you, yes, you guys need to have a podcast. You should be podcasting already. I don't know why you haven't started yet. Please do set up the feed, and then we'll release it to the rest of the show tomorrow.
Heaven knows I tried.